Hey everyone, Reflex here. This video is dedicated to all of my copper players out there who are trying to reach bronze. And if I do have any gold, platinum, diamond, or champion players out there watching this video, let's go ahead and give our copper brothers some advice, okay? If you guys have some helpful tips for them, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. A little bit of help comes a long way. With Operation Steel Wave around the corner, let's get you guys prepared. And yes, all these tips can be useful for any further seasons to come, okay? So you guys are set. The first tip on how to rank up from copper to bronze on Rainbow Six Siege is to just basically make sure you use a headset. Whether you're playing on PC or on console, you want to make sure you're using a headset for Rainbow Six Siege, as you need to use all of your senses within this game. If you're playing through speakers, you're pretty much screwed. Plus, you need a mic and headset to communicate with your team. It's really worth the investment. Sounds play a huge role within this game, as there are various ways to tell whether an enemy is nearby or when they are using a gadget. For example, you can hear an enemy walking over a barbed wire, or you can hear them stepping on a legion mine. Hell, you can even hear them walking or slow walking sometimes, except for Caveira. She's a little bit more difficult to hear when she's hunting, so be careful. Alright, let's get to the honest truth about the copper experience. The sad thing about coppers, or hell even bronze, is that there will always be lots of throwers or griefers who are simply toxic and ruin the experience for everyone else. If you're new, try to make friends as you go and ask if they want to squad up, or just play with your own friends if you're able to. I met one of my close teammates who I squad up with on the daily through Siege. Don't be afraid to ask people to party up. My advice is to try 3-stacking it or even just 2-stacking it so you guys can help each other out. This is a team-based game after all. Teamwork is key. So my next piece of advice is get familiar with the operators and what each of them do. It's important to realize what artillery you're going up against or what you have at your disposal. Knowing what you're up against will make your life so much easier. For example, if you know that your enemy has a smoke in their team, you're clearly not going to try and plant on site, knowing that he can just gas your cheeks up immediately. It's important to pick the proper operators for certain maps or sites. As you continue to play through Rainbow Six, you will begin to notice which sites teams tend to pick first. For example, in the map Chalet, people tend to pick basement first, so you always want to make sure you use a hard breacher and bring Thatcher to take care of the garage door. Most people, especially in the early ranks, decide they don't want to play a hard breacher or the support role. If nobody wants to, then it's up to you to fill in that role. It will make your life so much easier as well as your team's. It'll help you get into sites much easier, but also help apply pressure from multiple sides against the defending team. Hard breachers come a long way. Alright, so on to map knowledge. Map knowledge is something that can only be learned from experience. So don't be too hard on yourself if you've only began to play the game recently. Just play the game itself multiple times. It will help you learn where the best peaks are, what the best angles to hold are, and where to flank from. This takes me to my next tip. Do not reinforce everything. There is no reason to reinforce silly passageways that could be used to your advantage, okay? Closing up paths will only obstruct the roamer from flanking the enemy team. And most important of them all, never reinforce between sites. Please do not do this. For the love of God, don't do it. You will not be able to protect both sides at the same time or maneuver between sites when needed. By the time you try to take down the barricade, the enemy will have already shot you between the eyes. You never want to block your own line of sights. When you're in the middle of a gunfight, never put yourself in a spot where you can't rotate. Never corner yourself and give them a free kill. If you're getting rushed, there's absolutely nowhere for you to go. They can simply kill you with frags, or someone like Ash or Zofia can swoop in there and destroy you with their gadgets. It's important to get familiar with your surroundings and how to maneuver properly when needed. Again, this will come with more playtime and experience. This leads to my next point. If you play as an anchor when on defense, simply holding angles will get you more kills. People tend to rush into sight in copper without a care in the world. Good defenders or operators that are used for holding down sites are basically Rook and Doc. They both use ACOG, so I mean, come on now, of course you want to use them, right? On the other hand, you may use trap-based operators to hold angles and slow down your enemies, and as well as gather intel. Popular trap operators consist of Capcan, Frost, and Legion. People will run into those puppies like there's no tomorrow in copper. Trust me. Alright, so droning. It is very important to learn how to drone in the early stages of Siege. Because basically, you're pretty much going to need to learn how to drone in the higher ranks. Drones will help you get more kills, as you will have more intel on your enemy. Always take care of the default camps as well. Defenders can simply pick you off because they can watch you where you spawn and what direction you're heading. It can be very predictable, and if they see you on the cams, then that's pretty much a free kill for them. So same with the drones. If you got a drone, that's a free kill. If you're rappelling near a cam and someone is watching, they can easily run out on you and destroy you. So silly deaths like that can be avoided by just destroying the default cams. You don't want to be caught off guard. So simply get rid of them. If you're playing as a defender and you kill an attacker that's holding the diffuser, you're going to want to hold on to that diffuser for dear life. Just make sure you hold angles, be smart, think about the potential areas that the enemy could be coming from while they're trying to retrieve the diffuser. Keep your eye on time, just be aware of your surroundings and play it safe. In the copper ranks, a lot of people don't even think about these type of things. Like, they won't think, oh, the enemy's probably holding the diffuser, or they're watching over it, you know. They won't think about any of that. Most people in copper level don't even know how to deal with roamers. So if you're a roamer and you're watching the diffuser, you're probably gonna have a good chance of taking them out, because I mean, you know where they're gonna be coming from. So all you gotta do is hold angles, sit tight, and aim well. And as you're holding the diffuser and enemies are approaching you, this is where you want to make sure that you're able to hear clearly, you know, because you can hear their footsteps as they're approaching you and have the advantage of them, you know. Since you're just basically standing still around the diffuser, you can use that to your own advantage and be like, okay, well, that's not me moving, and I don't see any teammates around me, so that has to be the enemy, you know. So be smart. And my final tip is to crouch walk, especially if you're getting closer to an enemy or approaching a site. Not always, but a lot of the time, especially if you're trying to flank. If you're getting closer to an enemy or approaching a site, crouch walk. It makes it a lot more difficult for the enemy to notice that you're getting near them. It also beats rushing into sight like an idiot and getting blasted. You won't believe how much you'll improve by simply crouch walking. Obviously, don't do it all the time, don't do it the whole match, but just keep your eyes on the timer. If you still feel uncomfortable playing ranked and see no improvement, take yourself to unranked. Practice these basic strategies and get a feel for the game. Learning where to put proper reinforcements, make rotations, and camera placements. At the end of the day, we're all learning new things within Rainbow Six Siege on the daily. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. My final message is, don't be discouraged if you're having a tough time ranking up in Rainbow Six Siege, especially if you're solo queuing. People can get really sweaty in ranked, and Siege is far from being an easy game. It has a long learning curve. It takes time and experience. I hope you guys see a lot of improvement within your gameplay. Just follow these steps and you'll rank up from copper to bronze within Rainbow Six Siege in no time. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on my next video. Take care and take it easy.